Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Classic Wrestling Cast, where we go in depth on classic wrestling. Today is our WWE Payback 2017 prediction show, and joining me, as always, is Aaron Steinberg from the Comic Book Show. How you doing today?
I'm doing okay. I am ready to talk some wrestling.
Yep, sounds good. So, before we get to that, what did you think of WrestleMania? I thought it was all right.
Um, it
Some
was,
stuff I wish the Undertaker thing was handled differently, but the retirement part was pretty cool, though.
yeah, I mean, like, there were some good moments. Obviously, the Undertaker retiring is, like, the story coming out of WrestleMania. And it was fine. It was, that's okay. It is what it is. It was time for him to go. It was sad. I won't lie. A tear was shed. Um, the Hardys coming back, that was awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was like we predicted it would be just the normal match, and they would come out at the end and be like, "All right, now like we made this match up. Let's fight for these titles some other time." But it was cool that they just threw him right in there.
Yeah, but then there was some stuff that just did not was not good. I mean, Lesnar versus Goldberg was fine. It was okay.
Yeah, it was better than the previous, not the previous, the previous WrestleMania one. It was still super short, but it was still. I think it was all right.
Yeah, it was all right. But then you had like the Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton. That match just absolutely stunk, real bad.
Yeah, I don't know
Um,
what the thing with the like worm projector was supposed to be. I mean, I get what they were trying to do. It just looked kind of cheesy.
yeah, it was not very good overall. I thought WrestleMania was just kind of okay, but you know,
Yeah, I
I
mean, there was some good stuff. I think the Triple H and like Seth Rollins match was good, but it kind of like
yeah,
was a little too long. I think
I think
maybe not too long. It was like it.
it felt weird in certain spots. Like the whole thing with Stephanie, that was cool to go see her through a table, but see her go through a table. But yeah, I agree. Like it just felt oddly paced in some areas.
And
But you could say that about the whole show, I think.
yeah, there were some spots where Seth Rollins like looked like he re-injured his knee, and like if that was like the case, Triple H like probably should have won then. But
Yeah,
I mean, I thought it was still okay. I mean, I didn't see all the matches live. I had to go back and watch a few of the other ones, but yeah, it was okay.
yeah, it was okay. But to me, like almost more important than what happens in WrestleMania is kind of what happens after WrestleMania. And as I told you before we started recording, this is the first pay-per-view after WrestleMania. They did the superstar shakeup where some people went from SmackDown to Raw and some people went from Raw to SmackDown, and overall the booking of WWE in the span of since WrestleMania until now has just been trash, like real garbage. And I know if Joey Image listens to this, he's going to get mad at me for talking smack about WWE, but it's been real bad, like real bad.
Yeah, I haven't really. I mean, like I've seen highlights and stuff like that. There's been some cool moments, but other than that, it hasn't been particularly great. But we're going to go out of WrestleMania, going into Payback. So we're gonna break down the matches here. We have 8 of them to go through. Um, this apparently is a pre-show, so we're going to see Enzo and Big Cass against Gallows and Anderson. Just a tag team match. Nothing like nothing on the line really, or they're not
Yeah,
champions anyway. But I'm not really sure. The last time I think they wrestled each other just like in a tag match, I think the club won or Gallows and Anderson
yeah,
won. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Enzo and Cass win. I think we had predicted them to win the WrestleMania match.
yeah. To
In
me,
the
Enzo and
spot, oh, in the spot that I had predicted them trying to do, they actually tried, but it didn't. Obviously, didn't work out. Where Enzo was hoisting Cass up, or Cass was hoisting Enzo to grab the belt, but then I think he got
yeah,
like taken down. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah. I just think that for this match, Enzo and Cass have to win at some point, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Like,
they were on a roll for a while, and then they've kind of like at least slowed down their wins. I think they're over enough that they don't really have to win, but they should probably get some wins.
yeah, I mean that's true. They're so over that they don't have to win, but at some point they like that can only last for so long before people stop caring. To me, that's kind of similar to what happened to Bray Wyatt over the past couple of years. He's just kept losing and losing and losing, and eventually people stop caring. And that's gonna suck when that happens, if that happens to Enzo and Cass, because Enzo and Cass, like, they're probably the most over people on the whole roster. Um, and they're really good. And it's a shame that they're not getting opportunities to, go on the big boy stage, as it were.
Yeah,
I think it should be Enzo and Cass
yeah,
against the Hardys instead of Cesaro and Sheamus.
yeah. And
But
I'm probably predicting we'll probably see Enzo and Cass win, and then eventually challenge the Hardys at some point. Maybe have like a number one contenders match between some other teams, and then it'll be Enzo and Cass will come out on top of that, and then go against the Hardys. Maybe I don't know SummerSlam, maybe before that, but
yeah, I think the Enzo and Cass just they have to win here. I mean, they can only, like I said, they can only skirt by losing for so long starts to before it starts to people start to lose interest.
right. So yeah, predicting Enzo and Cass. I think you're in the same boat here.
I
We're
am.
gonna move into Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho, and it's for the United States title. If Jericho wins, he'll go to SmackDown. Um, that is, I think, why I'm probably going to predict Jericho, and I'll tell you why. So, Dean Ambrose came over to Raw, right?
Right.
So he has the Intercontinental title, and that pretty much leaves SmackDown without a like an upper mid card title, kind of.
Well, no, Owens
Well,
is on SmackDown now.
oh, okay, I didn't know Owens got transferred. Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah. Owens went to SmackDown with the US title.
Okay, yeah, I remember hearing something about that. I thought it was going to be like Ambrose came over and they had both titles on Raw, and then one would have to go over. If that's the case, I see Owens probably retaining then.
Yeah, I see that too because I think Jericho is done for the time being. He's been back for a long time.
Yeah, this is
Um,
one of his longer. Usually he comes back for a few months, does his thing, and leaves, and he's been back.
it's
I
been
don't know
over a year because
for a
remember he
while. Yeah,
he
well
fought
came back,
AJ Styles at WrestleMania 31,
or was it 32?
whichever
I
the
think
one
it
in
was.
Dallas was.
Yeah, I think that was 32. But also he
Oh
came
right,
back.
yeah.
He came back in like 2014, like briefly, to like tag with Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose,
Oh
and then
yeah,
came
that's
back.
right.
Then came back again. So he's been there for a while. And
Yeah, I
usually he
think
doesn't stay around that long. I know they can WWE generally says he's allowed to stay pretty much as long as he wants, and he kind of pretty much get out whenever he feels like it. I guess.
yeah, I think he's done for this tour. So I think he's going to put over Kevin Owens and then just kind of say his goodbyes. But the build to all of these matches from Raw, since this is technically a Raw branded pay-per-view, it's been so bad because you've got at least two matches where the people in the feud, if you want to even call it that, are on opposite shows. So in this case, you've got Jericho on Raw and Owens on SmackDown. So on SmackDown, you've got Owens feuding now with AJ Styles because AJ Styles is the number one contender for the U.S. Championship after this match. So it's like you've got Kevin Owens in two feuds, and he can't really interact that much with the person he's feuding with. So there's no heat behind this match whatsoever. Like I I'm pretty much 100% certain that Kevin Owens is going to win because there is no match that's going to happen where the Intercontinental Championship might come to SmackDown, and there's no way that SmackDown is not going to have a mid card title.
Yeah, and also if Owens retains, which he probably will, it gives us Owens and Styles, which should be good.
Yeah, and honestly, Kevin Owens is making the United States Championship as relevant as it's been since the John Cena Open Challenge. And I've said on this show before that John Cena made me care more about the U.S. title than the world title at the time.
Yeah, because I think
So,
that was when Brock Lesnar had it and defended it. Maybe I think he defended it at Royal Rumble that year, and then at WrestleMania, and hadn't really. And then John Cena was defending it like every week,
yeah.
and on the pay per views.
Yeah, so I think Kevin Owens having that title and having AJ Styles go after it. I mean, it's weird because like you think AJ Styles, he's a former world champion. Why is he going after the US title? Like why? When freaking Jinder Mahal is going after the world championship, and we'll get to that, but it just kind of everything WWE is doing now makes no sense in terms of booking, but I do think Kevin Owen is 100% going to win this clean as a whistle, as Chris Jericho says his goodbyes
All right,
for
sounds
now.
good. Yeah, we'll go with Owens. Next up, we have our tag team title match. So we have the Hardy Boys against Cesaro and Sheamus. Hardy Boys winning at WrestleMania, which was probably one of my favorite moments. Was like their return. It was
Yeah.
as soon as the New Day said it was going to be a Fatal 4-Way, I knew it was going to be the Hardys. But it was still really cool to see them come out again.
Yeah, and coming out with their classic music, man, I got goosebumps. Like I have not heard that song in such a long time, and it was just so awesome. And the Hardys, listen, are they great promo guys? Well, not really. At least without the broken gimmick. Um, but the things that they can do in the ring and how they can make the crowd just eat out of the palms of their hand, they're fantastic, and I'm so glad they're back. I think they're gonna win here. They've been teasing some, I don't want to say like tension between Cesaro and Sheamus, but it feels like they're leaning towards a heel turn because they've been doing the "we respect you" angle, and the "we respect you" angle almost always leads to, hey, we don't respect you anymore, and we're gonna beat you down in the middle of the ring after the match is over. I think that's what's gonna happen. I think either either Cesaro or Sheamus is gonna cost them the match, and either they're gonna break up or they're gonna lose and say, "Oh yeah, go to shake the Hardy's hand, and then do the surprise attack."
Yeah, I like that option more. Sheamus as a heel, I think, is just works better as face Sheamus, and Cesaro can do either.
I don't know. I think
I like Cesaro
Cesaro
as a
is.
face more, but Cesaro like heel Sheamus, I think is better than face Sheamus.
I agree with that. Heel Sheamus is better, but Cesaro, if you ask me, he's just like a perennial heel or face. Sorry, it's just this the Cesaro swing is super over, and he's one of the best or most consistent performers that the WWE has. Um, so I feel like it's easier. Everyone wants to cheer Cesaro, so I feel like it's easier to turn Sheamus heel than it is Cesaro. And hey, we saw how well his heel run went, right? When he was a heel with Paul Heyman, and after that, oh wait, it was the worst thing ever. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
it was funny for like 10 minutes when he cut a promo on Cena saying he's like you can't wrestle in shorts or something like that or in like cut off shorts. He's like, no wait, you just can't wrestle. That was funny, but then that was like a one time promo on like one show, and they forgot about it like a week later.
Yeah, and even then, because you're cutting it on John Cena, it's like not like straight up heel because half or maybe even more than half, but a lot of people just don't like John Cena. So if you cut a heel promo on John Cena, people will cheer you.
Especially back because that was 3 years ago almost, or more than 3 years ago, or close to it at least. That was when I think like my like dislike for Cena was probably like at its highest.
Yeah,
So
that because that was before the whole open challenge thing, and that was before he really kind of. There was a point where he really elevated his game. I think it was just about when he won the U.S. Championship, where he just like really kind of went to another level. But before that, I was right there with you saying, "Oh God, Cena, he's just bottlenecking the top."
yeah, so when Cesaro cut that promo, a lot of people like liked it because they just didn't like Cena. They may not have even liked Cesaro either, but they were like, we like him more than we like Cena.
Exactly.
And then that was I think like right before or right after he won the Money in the Bank that year, where he like won both titles and then lost them to Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. I don't remember if it was before or after that, or it was like really close to it. But after that, after Cena, I think like maybe it was like Royal Rumble 2015 was when I think like Cena he didn't win the title there, but then that's
Oh
kind
yeah,
of
that
when
was
he
with Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins, right?
yeah. And then after that, he feuded with Rusev and then won the title and then or U.S. title, and then did the Open Challenge, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go with the Hardy Boys here. We have Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt in a House of Horrors match, which where you discussed before we started recording, and this isn't even a title match. I haven't really seen much about this match, so I'm not sure what the House of Horrors match is supposed to even be.
Well, no one. I don't think WWE really knows. I have a number of problems with this match. First of all, this feud has been going on since September, And it started out on the right foot, but it quickly ran out of gas. And there's just, again, there's no heat behind this. They're on separate shows. There's no title up for grabs. So neither of them get anything out of winning or losing. And it's just, they made the match. Basically, it started out as a championship rematch. Then, for some reason, that stipulation was taken away. And then they say it's a House of Horror match. So you have Randy Orton coming out literally every single week saying, I don't know what a House of Horrors match is, and more or less giving the same promo. And then Renee Young on Talking Smack said that the match has to end in the ring. So now we could have gotten like a really cool final deletion style thing. I mean, hell, you've got Matt Hardy there. Have him book the match. Go to Matt Hardy and say, hey, final deletion, do that, but House of Horror style. But the match has to end inside the ring. So I think it's just, I don't think it's going to, I would love it to be awesome and be great and be cool, but I just don't have any faith in WWE that they're going to make it good. And I'm sorry for ranting, but now also you've got, I'll say it again, Jinder Mahal as the #1 contender for the WWE Championship. Jinder Mahal, perennial jobber, and he's going to be fighting for the WWE Championship. And he's going out on SmackDown feuding with Randy Orton, while Randy Orton is also feuding with Bray Wyatt. And one guy being in two feuds never, ever, ever works. It's bad.
And then
And
also you have Jinder Mahal getting beat up at WrestleMania by a football player. Even though, I mean, they've done that at WrestleMania before. I think like Lawrence Taylor beat up Bam Bam Bigelow like 20 years ago or 22 years ago, whatever it was. Yeah, because I think it was Jinder Mahal that got attacked by Gronkowski. I don't recall exactly,
yeah.
but yeah, it's like why is AJ Styles not going for the world title? I guess a title is still a title, but I mean if he had the world title, why would he want to go for a lesser title
Yeah,
when he could probably if it's just like comes down to like at least like wrestling ability, he can defeat pretty much anybody on the roster if he wanted to.
yeah. So the thing is, it's like, I would love to be able to judge or to think about these matches kind of by themselves, but I can't. I having Jinder Mahal go for be the #1 contender for the world championship kind of colors everything, and all of the booking decisions that WWE is making like affect my perception of almost every match that's happening. So listen, you know how we've said on the show we said on the show in the past, never bet against John Cena?
Yep.
Well, pretty much the opposite is true with Bray Wyatt. A safe bet is to always bet against Bray Wyatt. Because like 98% of the time he loses. So I feel like he's gonna lose. But then again,
Probably.
yeah,
We'll see.
I don't know.
Unless the House of Horrors aspect is like his like thing, and he knows how he can like manipulate it to win. I don't really know.
Yeah, and then I mean he kind of had a little spat with Dean Ambrose on Raw, so it's possible that that Dean Ambrose could come in to provide the interference, and then kind of cause Bray Wyatt to lose or to win or to lose. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm
The
going
whole
to go
thing
with Orton on this.
stinks. Yeah, I'm going with Randy Orton.
Yes, it just seems weird. So we're going to go with Orton there. Next up, we have our cruiserweight title match. I think this is a rematch. We have Neville versus Austin Aries. Neville won or retained at WrestleMania. This is a rematch of that. I still don't want Neville to have to lose the title like yet. I really like what he's doing. So,
Yeah.
but then having Austin Aries win or lose 2 pay-per-views in a row seems weird too.
Yeah, I think Neville was the best kind of shot in the arm that the cruiserweight division has gotten, because I don't know if you've watched 205 Live, but I haven't. Like I have no drive to watch that show, and because there's so few like interesting characters, Neville is really the only interesting one. And I think having the title on him really, really works. But you're also right. You make a good point that having Austin Aries lose twice in a row kind of delegitimizes him as a competitor. Now, I think this is probably going to be the match of the night. Just to put that out there, I think this is probably going to be the best match from an in-ring perspective. Um, you know,
I can
is
kind of see it going either way. I mean, like if they might trade the title back and forth a few times, but I mean, I can see Neville retaining, but I can also see Austin Aries winning and then losing again in like a month or two.
yeah, yeah. I think you're right. I think Austin Aries will probably get the win here. That makes sense.
Yeah, we'll see. I think it should be a good match though. So
Yeah, I think it'll be the best match of the night.
all right, Austin Aries. Let's skip. We'll skip that one. We'll come back to that. We'll go to Seth Rollins and Samoa Joe. Um, so Seth Rollins coming off of winning against Triple H, or like at least outlasting Triple H with a bad knee and all that, against the guy who actually hurt his knee. So I don't really know if they're going to. I don't know. I haven't watched any promos. I don't know if they've actually spun that, where Samoa Joe could be like, "Hey, I'm the guy that actually hurt you. It wasn't Triple H. It was me," or something like that.
Um, they kind of touch on it where Joe's basically saying a little bit. He was like, "I was the one that put you out of action, but then you took it out on Stephanie and Triple H, and now I'm taking it personally because you hurt Stephanie." This match, from an in-ring perspective, is going to be good, but like I can't when I think of this match, I can't help but just be so disappointed. Not necessarily how lackluster Seth Rollins has been as a face, because it's not really. I don't think it's really him. If when he returned they just let him be a face like right when he came back, I think he would have been on a Shawn 1996 Shawn Michaels level of popularity, just like incredibly hot, um, super over. But they kind of made him insult everybody when he came back, and then they slow burned his face turn, and then he lost that match for the title due to Triple H interference, and then Triple H disappeared for 5 months. Like they didn't really do a lot of storytelling, and they made people not care about Seth Rollins. Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
Kind of. I mean, like, I still like him as a face, but I think I liked the heel Seth Rollins more. Maybe he was more like comfortable in that role. I think. But it was just like weird because he came back, attacked Roman Reigns. Everybody's like, "Yeah, you're attacking Roman Reigns," and the next night on Raw, he's like, "I don't need any of you," and it was just like, okay. And then
Yeah,
that he had that like middle ground heel face thing. Like after he lost the title or won the title from Roman Reigns, lost it to Dean Ambrose, and then didn't really have anything to do like pretty much the rest of the summer until Triple H attacked him and be like, okay, now we're kind of building to something. And then he said Triple H disappears. He fused with Kevin Owens, and those matches were really good. Actually, I like those.
yeah,
So those are good. And then um, calls Triple H out at one of the NXT shows or pay per views. Gets like escorted out of the building, and then Samoa Joe comes out and hurts him. And yeah, I think like having Rollins beat Triple H at WrestleMania, like even though like it was supposed to be like he had like basically like like redeemed himself, it didn't really feel like it. He won the match, but then it didn't really there wasn't like it just didn't feel like the payoff for that was what they wanted,
yeah. I
or
just
maybe
think
what they were going for. I don't know.
I think they just mishandled the whole Seth Rollins situation, and kind of it. We're feeling the long term effects of that right now. Um, I think I think Seth Rollins like has to win here though, to kind of recapture some of that overness, and start to become more over and gain traction and start to get those insane crowd reactions. Because when he was a heel, when he was the WWE champion, dude, he was so over. People hated him. Um, he
Yeah,
got
some of the stuff he did as a heel, and I think this was before he was a champion, but when he was like after the Authority got like fired or taken out of power, John Cena was the only one that could bring him back, and he basically like forced Cena to. He's like, "I'll break Edge's neck if you don't bring him back." That was like some like top level like heel stuff, and people like. I mean, I liked it because it was like good heel like tactics. I mean, it was obviously like a very bad thing to do because it's like, okay, this guy's gonna break this guy's neck, so make us not like Seth Rollins. But I'm probably going with Rollins as well. I think like if he beats Samoa Joe, could be like, okay, you beat Triple H, and now you beat the guy who basically beat his assassin as well, or his like hitman, and now hopefully you can become the face that they want him to be.
Yeah, I think like once he starts to get a few, a couple more wins under his belt, maybe he wins a high profile feud. I think he'll start to get some traction. But even then, it's like, where does he go? Does he feud against Brock Lesnar? He already did that. You know,
Yeah,
it's kind of like a weird puzzle when you're trying to figure out where all the pieces lie.
yeah, he already did that, and like basically like Brock Lesnar took out his security team, and then I think that was a match where it was Lesnar versus um, Rollins for the title, and it's when Undertaker returned, and Seth Rollins just got the hell out of the ring. He's just like, I'm out,
Yeah.
and then set up that Undertaker Lesnar feud from like a couple years ago. All right, so I'm going with Rollins here. We're going to
Yep.
move into our women's title match. So we have Bayley versus Alexa Bliss. And we kind of agreed that they probably pulled the trigger, I think, too soon on Bayley, having her have the title.
Oh,
So
100%.
that's why I'm going to go with Alexa Bliss. Have her get the title, and then have Bayley, like claw her way back up to the top to maybe win it back someday.
Yeah, I think Bailey's got to lose. She's got to lose. Like, you can't have the lovable underdog gimmick when you are a dominant face. Like, it just doesn't work like that. So I think Alexa Bliss has just been exceptional since she has moved up to the main roster from NXT. Like, absolutely exceptional. She's been really good. And Bayley, on the other hand, let's be honest, not so good. Her promos have been awful. Her matches, while good, have not been great. Nothing on the level of you know the Brooklyn match
Yeah,
that
that's
she had
probably like I
with
think
Sasha
like
Banks.
that and the Iron Man match were probably like their best matches.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then
She's
and of
done
course
nothing on that
the
level.
Fatal Four Way from like earlier that year.
Yeah. So I think you take the belt off her, and I think this gives us a good this gives a good chance for Sasha to turn heel. Like, just I feel like just as long as we've been saying that Roman Reigns needs to turn heel, Sasha Banks needs to turn heel too. Sasha the Sasha Banks character does not work as a face.
Yeah, so I think she turns heel or Bailey loses. Maybe there's a segment with Sasha and Bailey and like they're like and she's like Sasha's maybe like consoling Bailey on losing and then just attacks her. I don't know.
Yeah, and then they have a match. Bailey loses and beats her down again, you know? I think the bottom line is Sasha needs to turn heel, and that is what kind of is coloring everything that I'm thinking about in terms of who wins and who loses, because I think you put the belt on Alexa Bliss, you got a lot of really good options. You get Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax, which is just like David versus Goliath. That would be a cool feud to see, even though Nia Jax sucks. But I think just like the visual of that feud with, the tiny Alexa Bliss versus the gigantic Nia Jax would be fun.
Yeah, you could
You can,
do Sasha versus Alexa as well. That would be good.
yeah. Well, I mean that if Sasha turns heel, that would be heel versus heel, which doesn't really work as well as face versus face. But if they don't pull the trigger on Sasha turning heel, which they're not likely to do because they haven't done it yet, they could do Alexa Bliss versus Sasha. They could do Alexa Bliss versus Mickey James. Um, there's a lot of good opportunities there. Even Emma. So there's a lot of I think there's better storytelling capabilities if Alexa has the title than Bayley.
All right, yep, I'm going with Alexa as well. Just so we could kind of maybe not rebuild Bailey, but like bring her down to like where she is the underdog, and then is like like fighting tooth and nail to get like every win she can get.
Yeah.
Kind of like just like the NXT gimmick or character, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and if people are going to say, oh, well, they can't just copy the NXT story, why? Most of the WWE audience has not doesn't watch NXT. Hell, I don't even watch NXT anymore.
Yeah, so I
So
mean, like the gimmicks there, like the stories there are like in NXT are very like fundamental and basic, but sometimes those are like those end up like being some of the best.
Yeah, I think they could retell that story, and it would be fine.
I mean, if you're retelling it, you have some of the same people in it. So you would have Bailey and Sasha would be some of the people in it because Charlotte is moved over to the SmackDown. But you also then add in Alexa Bliss, you added Nia Jax, you added in other wrestlers that weren't even part of it. You could even bring Emma into it, like you said,
Yeah,
because they had when Emma came back to NXT, I think like before she got brought up, they brought her back as a heel, or she had her same old gimmick first, and then there was one segment where she basically slapped Bailey and was like, "This isn't working for you. You need to be a little more like, can't be like like this nice character all the time. You need to like have a mean streak." And then that's when Emma turned heel. So you can bring all these elements back together and have it work.
yeah. They
I'm
they
not super confident with WWE doing that, but we'll see.
That's I feel like that's so sad where everything we say we have to add the like the asterisk. Not that WWE will do it, but they could do it.
Yeah.
So
All right. So we have one more match. We're going to go into Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman, just a singles match. And so Roman Reigns beat the Undertaker, came out on the Raw after, got booed like crazy. Uh, Basically just cut a promo saying this is his yard now. Got insanely booed again, and walked out. I don't think it
dude,
was.
that moment was so awesome. It was just like 10 minutes of the crowd just destroying him. Chants of F you Roman, just like all sorts of stuff. And then all he did was say, "This is my house." Literally dropped the mic and left. I thought that was amazing.
But the Strowman thing didn't. That was a week later, right? Or was that the same
Yeah.
night? I think that was
No, I
later.
think that was a week later.
All right. Anyway, so Braun Strowman comes out. They're doing an interview with Roman Reigns about his match, and Strowman just blindsides him, attacks him, lays him out. They he comes back multiple times, attacks him more. He's on a stretcher, and as soon as he runs back in, you just hear the crowd pop because gets thrown off like a little like the loading dock thing. Comes back again, gets another huge pop when he's like beating him up inside the ambulance, and then flips it over. Gets another huge pop out of that. Uh, Week later, 2 weeks later, he's fighting the Big Show and superplexes him, and the ring breaks. Strowman like gets the first one up and like leaves, and now Roman Reigns is going to be fighting him. So they've done a lot of really good like they're building Braun Strowman up like really nicely. I think. I'm just worried that it's going to be like okay, that was two. It's like you had your 2 weeks. Now Roman Reigns is going to beat you again or beat you.
Yeah, I this makes no sense because here's the deal. That Roman or Braun Strowman almost killed Roman Reigns, right? In kayfabe.
Yeah.
Freaking tipped the ambulance, threw him on the stretcher off of the loading dock, whatever you want to call it. And they're not having some sort of hardcore match. They're not having a stretcher match. Like they could have any sort of no DQ match here, and it would be awesome. But they're just having a regular match, and they built Braun Strowman up just to what? Is he going to lose?
I mean, I
No.
hope not. I really hope not because Um, that just seems like it's wasted. But of course, this is WWE, and they will build up a guy just so the guy that they want to be on top can just destroy that person.
Yeah, got to make Roman look strong.
And
Um,
also, of course, we mentioned last time, it would retiring the Undertaker would be a perfect opportunity for a heel turn, and that hasn't happened yet.
nope.
I mean, I guess it was kind of heelish just coming out saying this is my yard now and leaving, but not really.
I mean, to me, that was a heel move, and they could capitalize on that by have him going after faces and saying, "What? This is my house. Get out of here!" Like it's the perfect opportunity. It was the perfect opportunity for him to turn heel, but you know, Roman Reigns or Vince McMahon likes them big, muscly, and wet, and that is what Roman Reigns is. So I just don't think he's going to turn. I've lost all faith that he's going to turn heel.
Yeah.
Now, what I think that means for this match, I don't think either of them are going to lose. Do you remember? I forget what pay per view it was where it was Roman Reigns and Rusev, and the match like never officially started. Roman Reigns came out and speared Rusev on the
Yeah,
like on the
speared him
ramp.
before the match and then just left or something. I don't know if he left, but it was basically like, oh, Rusev's injured, he's out. So
Yeah, I think something like that might happen where the match never officially starts. They just brawl and like go to the back, and one of them beats the crap out of the other, or the Roman Reigns will come out, just grab a chair, and just light Braun Strowman up and get DQ'd. I think you've got to have something like that because you don't want to make Braun Strowman look weak, and also because Roman Reigns, you can't have Roman Reigns look weak. So I think you got to have some sort of DQ, um, to kind of soften the blow. So I would say either the match doesn't start, or Roman just goes straight for the DQ loss, and just lights up Braun
I can see
with
that
a
happening.
chair or a kendo stick.
Yeah, like maybe just attack him with a chair, and then like hit him with a chair a few times, gets disqualified, and then it has like almost zero effect on Braun Strowman.
Yeah, and then make it more of like a non-match brawl street fight type thing because if I'm looking at this with all the time they have spent building up Braun Strowman, you don't want to just like let all that magic smoke out, which is what would happen if Roman Reigns just beats him clean as a whistle in the middle of the ring. So I hope that doesn't happen. Not that I like Braun Strowman, I don't, and I don't like Roman Reigns. This whole pay-per-view to me is just a bunch of things that I'm not excited to see. Um, but
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I
watch
can
it
see that
anyways.
happening, and then have them have a proper match, like like later in the year.
Yeah, I think they're gonna hang. Well, you see, the thing is, I don't know. I feel like they're gonna build towards Strowman versus Brock, and then I think they're gonna push Brock versus Roman. Um, I think they're gonna push that even further down the road. So I can see them doing Brock versus Braun, but you wouldn't want Braun to lose before going into that match.
Yeah,
So I think it's going to be like a non-match or some sort of disqualification. That's how I feel this match is going to end.
yeah, that kind of protects both of them, or protects Strowman at least.
Yeah, because you got to protect both of them coming out of this.
All right, so I think that's going to do it for our predictions. We'll see how we do come Sunday. I again want to thank Aaron for hanging out with me, talking about wrestling. Why don't you tell people about your comic book podcast?
You like pop culture? You like three dudes trying to be funny? Listen to my other podcast. It's called The Comic Book Show. You can find it on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for The Comic Book Show. Or you can go to our website, epiccomicshow.com, and you can find all of our episodes there.
All right, sounds good. So again, we'll see how we do come Sunday. But this has been the Classic Wrestling Cast. Again, I want to thank Aaron for hanging out, and we'll
No
see
problem.
everybody
Thank
next
you.
time. All right, take care.